All paths lead home. Inner authority, intuition. Turn your gaze within. It's normal to look to the external world for answers and guidance. What's revolutionary is turning your gaze inward. You're being called to source your guidance from within, to study the terrain of your inner landscape, to develop a reliable relationship with your soul. The more time you spend connecting with your soul, the deeper the connection will become. The challenge for empaths is staying connected without cutting off from the world. The best way to do this is to develop a daily practice that helps you to keep checking in, to draw on the wisdom within, and let that be the authority in your life. If this card appears, you may be called to develop or switch up your spiritual practice to get in the habit of turning your gaze within, getting centered for the day, before consuming anything from the outside world. To start from a feeling of at-homeness and throughout each day to find simple ways to keep coming home. This doesn't mean switching off from the realities of today's world. We need as many conscious people as possible living with their eyes wide open. Rather, it's a call to start your day from a place of connectedness, grace, and devotion. So, when you go out into the world, and when you let the world in, you do it from an unshakable state of being, a state where you draw your strength, authority, and guidance from a place deep, deep within. Starseed Soul Inquiry. How are you being called to turn your gaze within? Okay, if we try to review this card, you see here sort of like a sacred place, and it seems that the sacred place is like a mandala. There are stones that are arranged into sort of like a spiral that goes towards the center, and there are some stones here like antennas jutting out from the earth, and the lady is about in the periphery of the mandala-like structure, and she's about to enter towards the center. If you would look at it externally, it can symbolize a sacred place out in the world, somewhere in the world, and it is like a portal that helps this lady to get in touch with the world she came from. Because when you see in the sort of like in a blurred vision in front of her, there's this big spherical substance like a planet that has a lot of sort of like watery surface. I guess it's like a thin veil that sort of curtains sort of like a thin veil between her and the planet that she came from. Actually, it seems like a twin planet. There's a planet on top and another planet below. So it can be the planet from which this person came from, and somehow this is a portal where she went so that she can get in touch with the place that she came from. Now, they say that our heart is a portal, and wherever you go, your heart goes with you. And so it means that any time of the day, you have a portal to get in touch with your home. Your home can be the divine also. Your home can be your inner self, and by just spending time of silence going inwards to the portal which is your heart, you are able to go back home. You are able to be in touch with the divine. Now, normally, throughout the day, we get distracted by external activities. And somehow, we can start the day with a meditation so that immediately you get to the portal of your heart and you get in touch with whom? You get in touch with the divine. You get in touch with the spirit, with your inner self. It's good to start the day that way. But it is also normal that after you spend that time of meditation, you will be distracted by everything. Now, I think there is a technique so that you will be able to be able to constantly go back into that portal which is your heart and to go home more often throughout the day. That is to use everything outside you as paths that lead to your heart. They become external portals that leads you to the internal portal which is your heart. I remember this story of a saint. They call him Saint Francis. They say that everything around him, everything that he sees, reminds him of the divine. When he looks at a tree, he sees the branches that reminds him of the cross. When he walks along the path and he sees a worm on the road, it reminds him of the Savior, which is called as the worm of the earth. When he looks at the sun, he is reminded that the sun also is like the divine. So what happens is that in everything that he sees as he go about his daily activities, he sees vestiges of the divine in all created things. Every creature have images in them that reminds us of the divine. And maybe that is the challenge, to use the things around us as reminders, as mini portals to bring us back into that inner portal, to bring us back home, to bring us back in touch with the divine. We can also use the external activities that we encounter as mini portals that brings us towards the inner portal, which is the heart. For example, if you encounter a certain trial or a certain challenge in the day, throughout the day, if you encounter a certain problem, you can immediately remind yourself, I don't have to do this alone. I can always go to the divine. So immediately that situation brings you back into your heart and leads you to prayer. I remember one religious superior also saying, if I have a problem, I immediately go into prayer and tell the divine, we have a problem, can you solve it for me? So it's like that. It's when a problem comes, you are reminded you don't have to do it alone. You immediately go into prayer. So you go into your heart, go back home through the portal which is your heart, and get in touch with the divine and ask the divine to help you. When you see something beautiful, if you receive a certain gift from the divine, from the universe, you receive a certain grace, immediately you are reminded to go into your heart with thanksgiving and say thank you, thank you. This gratefulness, knowing that the divine in the universe is moving and making things easier for you. So again, an incident which is positive reminds you to be thankful, so you immediately go to the portal in your heart and you give thanks. So the challenge is just to accept the reality that you will be distracted all throughout the day. And at the same time, this distraction, you can turn into advantages. You can use them as portals in order to be reminded of the divine, to be reminded of your inner self, to be reminded to go inwards. So you use everything that you see, everything that you experience as portals that brings you back into prayer within your heart. Well, I guess that's our reflection for today. Until next time, have a great day.